want to begin tonight with a simple thought. Diamonds. Now, a diamond doesn't look like much when it first begins. In fact, it begins as something quite common, just carbon. But given time, given heat, given pressure, something remarkable takes place. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. And I'd like to suggest that in many ways, life works the same way. Pressure is not the enemy. In fact, pressure is often the birthplace of greatness. People sometimes say, Mr. Rohn, I wish life was easier. I used to say that too. Then I learned it was the wrong request. The right request is, I wish I were better. Don't wish away the pressure. Wish for the wisdom and the strength to handle it. Think of the farmer. He feels the pressure of the seasons. If he doesn't plant in the spring, he's in trouble come fall. That pressure drives him to act. It keeps him awake. It reminds him of responsibility. Without the seasons pressing on him, he'd drift. Same with us. Responsibility, deadlines, challenges. These are life's pressure systems that keep us alert and moving forward. Now, diamonds don't form overnight. Neither do people. The process takes time, and time can feel heavy. But that's what makes it valuable. If you take carbon and try to cut the process short, you don't get a diamond. You get dust. And life works the same way. Growth takes time, patience, and the willingness to endure pressure without quitting. When I look back, the moments that seemed the hardest, the ones where I felt pressed on every side, were the very seasons that produced the greatest breakthroughs. When the bills were stacked, when the business wasn't working, when I had to make the tough calls, that was the pressure. And in that furnace, I grew. So tonight I want you to see pressure differently. Don't see it as punishment. See it as preparation. Don't see it as something that crushes. See it as something that forms. The same heat that can melt steel can also purify gold. It's not the fire. It's what's inside that decides the outcome. The question is not whether pressure will come. It will. The question is, will you let it shape you into something rare, something strong, something valuable? Or will you let it break you into something common, scattered, forgotten? The choice is always yours. And here's the promise. If you stay in the process, if you welcome the pressure as a teacher instead of resenting it as an enemy, one day you'll look back and realize you became the diamond, stronger than steel, more brilliant than glass, rare enough to be treasured. That's the reward for those who endure. Let me tell you what I discovered after that turning point. Pressure doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It comes as the natural companion of opportunity. The greater the opportunity, the greater the pressure. If you're looking for a life without pressure, you're also asking for a life without much opportunity. They come together like two sides of the same coin. I remember when I first began to take responsibility for my future. Before then, the pressure was small because the opportunity was small. I had no business to run, no people to lead, no goals beyond survival. Life was easy, too easy, but easy wasn't rewarding. Easy never made me grow. Then I took on bigger goals, and with them came pressure. The pressure to learn, to perform, to produce. And guess what? That's when life became exciting. You've probably heard it said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. But let me add, rewarding is the life that shoulders the crown. Leadership, responsibility, risk, they all come with pressure. But they also come with meaning. And I'd rather live under pressure with purpose than drift along without it. Think of the athlete. No one becomes strong by lifting feathers. They lift weight. They feel the strain. Their muscles burn. That's pressure. And in the tearing of the muscle, in the stress of the workout, strength is formed. Same in life. Without the weight of responsibility, we don't build the strength of character. Sometimes people say, I don't want the stress. But I tell them, stress is just another name for the stretching of your capacity. The question is, what are you being stretched by? Some people are stretched by gossip, by complaints, by little frustrations. That's stress that diminishes. But others are stretched by vision, by responsibility, by big goals. That's stress that enlarges. Pressure that weakens or pressure that strengthens. It depends on what you carry. And let me give you a warning. Pressure resisted without growth becomes regret. If you run from it, if you hide, the pressure doesn't vanish. It turns inward. It turns into bitterness, into resentment, into weakness. But pressure embraced with courage becomes wisdom. It becomes strength. And one day it becomes reward. So here's the key. Don't just ask for fewer problems. Ask for more skills. Don't ask for lighter pressure. Ask for stronger shoulders. Because the weight of life is not going away. The only question is whether you are getting strong enough to carry it. And if you do, you'll discover that what once felt heavy now feels light. The weight doesn't change, but you change. And that is the beginning of transformation. Diamonds form under pressure. And people do too. The only way you get the diamond is to stay in the process, stay in the heat, stay in the pressure until what's inside of you comes forth shining. That's the lesson I learned, and it changed everything. Now, I want to take this idea a little deeper. Pressure doesn't just shape us. It reveals us. It shows what we're really made of. If you squeeze an orange, you don't get apple juice. You get orange juice because that's what's inside. And when life squeezes you, what comes out is the truth of your character. When I was broke and behind on my promises, the squeeze revealed my excuses, my lack of discipline, my poor habits. That was a hard truth to face. But once I faced it, I could change it. Pressure gave me a mirror. And I'll tell you, without that mirror, I might have kept pretending. I might have stayed broke forever, blaming circumstances, blaming others, never realizing the problem was me. So don't resent the squeeze, use it. Ask yourself, what's coming out of me under pressure? If it's anger, maybe it's time to work on patience. If it's fear, maybe it's time to build courage. If it's excuses, maybe it's time to take responsibility. Pressure is feedback, and feedback is the breakfast of champions. I was invited once to speak for a company that was going through a crisis. Their numbers were down. Their competitors were stronger. Their morale was low. I could feel the pressure in the room. But as I looked around, I saw two groups of people. One group was collapsing under the pressure, complaining, pointing fingers. The other group was rising to it, saying, what can we learn? How can we adapt? How can we fight back stronger? Same pressure, different response. And that difference would determine the future of the company. That's true for nations too. History shows us that civilizations rise under the pressure of challenge and collapse under the weight of comfort. The struggle produces strength, but too much ease produces decay. You've probably noticed when times are too easy, discipline erodes. But when times get tough, discipline tightens. That's pressure at work. So here's the question. When pressure comes, and it will, what story will it tell about you? Will it reveal weakness, or will it reveal strength? Will it expose excuses, or will it highlight determination? The squeeze is coming. The only way to control the outcome is to decide today what you're putting inside. Fill your mind with ideas, and when the squeeze comes, wisdom will come out. Fill your life with discipline, and when the squeeze comes, courage will come out. Fill your heart with gratitude, and when the squeeze comes, joy will come out. It's not the pressure that determines the outcome. It's what's inside you when the pressure arrives. And that's why personal development is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Reading, journaling, setting goals, keeping promises, developing habits. These are how you load your mind and spirit with the right content. So when life presses, what comes out is valuable. You don't prepare for pressure in the moment of pressure. You prepare long before in the daily disciplines of life. Diamonds form under pressure, yes. But remember, they form because the substance inside can endure the process. And the same is true for you. What you put inside will determine whether you break or whether you shine. Now let's look at pressure from another angle. Pressure not only reveals what's inside, it also draws out potential you didn't know you had. It's the stretch of pressure that forces us to go beyond our comfort zone. Without it, most people never discover what they're truly capable of. Think of the student with an exam coming up. They may not feel like studying, but the pressure of the test compels them to learn more than they would have on their own. Or the young couple starting out with very little. The pressure of making ends meet forces them to budget, to plan, to be resourceful. 10 years later, that same resourcefulness has turned them into wise managers of wealth. Without the pressure, they might never have learned. I recall when I first started speaking. Believe me, it was no smooth beginning. The pressure of facing an audience, the pressure of delivering something worthwhile, that pressure forced me to study harder, prepare longer, practice deeper. Without that pressure, I might have coasted, and coasting is the enemy of mastery. The pressure gave me wings. It reminds me of the eagle's young. At some point, the mother eagle begins removing the soft lining of the nest, leaving behind sharp sticks and thorns. The nest becomes uncomfortable, pressing the young eaglets to spread their wings and fly. If the nest stayed soft, they'd never leave. The discomfort is what makes them soar. That's how pressure works. It takes you out of ease and into expansion. But here's what's important. Pressure doesn't guarantee growth. It only creates the conditions for growth. Some fold, some rise. The difference lies in preparation and perspective. If you see pressure as punishment, you'll shrink. If you see it as opportunity, you'll expand. The same wind can blow two ships in opposite directions. It depends on how the sails are set. One of the greatest mistakes I see people make is running from small pressures. They avoid responsibility, they avoid deadlines, they avoid challenges. But by avoiding the small, they miss out on preparing for the larger ones. And when the big test comes, they collapse. It's like the athlete who avoids practice. When the game comes, the pressure crushes them. But the one who embraced training pressure finds the game exhilarating. So what's the lesson? Take on manageable pressure today so you can handle great pressure tomorrow. Volunteer for the assignment. Say yes to the responsibility. Set a tough goal. Push yourself just beyond comfort. Every small pressure you handle adds to your capacity, and capacity is what determines destiny. I'll tell you something I noticed. Pressure makes people inventive. When you're pressed, you think of things you wouldn't have otherwise. When the farmer sees a storm coming, he finds a way to reinforce the barn. When the business feels competition, it innovates. When the family faces hardship, they discover strength in unity. Without pressure, invention often lies dormant. So don't run from it. Don't resent it. Don't pray it away. Welcome it. Pressure might be the very thing that introduces you to your deeper self. And one day when you look back, you'll say, that season of pressure, it was hard, but it was the making of me. Diamonds form under pressure, yes. But here's the greater truth. So does leadership, So does creativity. So does courage. All the qualities that make life rich don't come from ease. They come from the squeeze. Let's press this point a little further. Pressure doesn't just shape people. It shapes relationships, teams, families, entire communities. Pressure has a way of testing the bonds between people. And those bonds, if strong, become stronger still. If weak, they break. I've seen marriages collapse under the pressure of money problems, but I've also seen marriages deepen because of them. Two people saying, "We'll figure this out together." That's the power of pressure. It separates the shallow from the strong. Same in business. A company coasts when the market is good. Everyone feels relaxed. Everyone looks successful. But let the market shift. Let the pressure hit. And suddenly you find out who the real leaders are. Some point fingers. Some make excuses. And some step up. Pressure brings clarity. It shows who's committed and who's just convenient. Think of the family. Every family faces seasons of pressure, health issues, financial struggles, disagreements. And in those moments, two things can happen. The family can fracture or the family can fortify. The difference is in the choice to use the pressure as a reason to pull together instead of apart. A diamond, after all, is just carbon atoms aligned tightly under pressure. It's alignment that makes the difference. And families are no different. Even friendships. The easy times don't test them. It's when life gets tough, when the storms hit, when the pressure mounts. That's when you find out who's real. Pressure filters out the casual from the committed. And those who stay become treasures. And what about the pressure of expectation? Some people say it's heavy, but I say it's a gift to have someone believe in you enough to expect something of you. That's pressure worth having. A parent expecting more from their child, a mentor expecting more from their student, a leader expecting more from their team. Those expectations press us upward. They call us to rise. Of course, not every pressure is pleasant. Some are downright painful. But here's what I've found. Pain handled with purpose becomes power. It's the pain of training that builds the athlete. The pain of discipline that builds the leader. The pain of sacrifice that builds the entrepreneur. Without pressure and without pain, strength never shows up. So when pressure comes into your relationships, into your work, into your home, don't just ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What for?" What is this pressure designed to bring out of us? What strength, what unity, what discipline is waiting to be formed? Because if we choose to let pressure divide us, we lose. But if we let it unite us, we win. Remember, a diamond isn't just beautiful because of its clarity. It's beautiful because it's rare. And rare things take great pressure to produce. That's true of marriages, friendships, companies, nations. Anything of lasting value has been through the fire. So let the pressure come. Instead of breaking apart, let it bind you closer. Instead of weakening, let it strengthen. Because when you look back years later, you'll say, that was the season that tested us, but it was also the season that turned us into something rare, something lasting, something valuable. Now let's take a broader look at this. Pressure not only affects people and relationships, it touches every area of life. Health, wealth, relationships, leadership, contribution. Each one carries its own kind of pressure. And if you can learn to see pressure as the process of refinement, you can use it everywhere. You've got to take care of your health. Your body responds to pressure in the form of exercise. Muscles are torn and rebuilt. The heart is stressed and strengthened. Bones are tested and fortified. Without that stress, the body weakens. That's why so many people who avoid exercise in the name of comfort discover later the greater discomfort of illness. The little pressure of discipline saves you from the crushing pressure of regret. And what about your finances? Money brings its own pressures. The pressure of earning it, the pressure of managing it, the pressure of investing it. Some collapse under the weight of financial responsibility. Others grow wise, patient, disciplined, and that discipline builds fortunes. Remember, the very pressure that tempts one man to quit is the same pressure that teaches another man to master the game. The market goes up, the market goes down. That's pressure. But the wise learn to see it not as chaos, but as rhythm. And they build their wealth in the rhythm. Relationships, we touched on this earlier. But think of the pressure of honesty. It's not easy to tell the truth when it might offend. It's not easy to admit mistakes when pride is on the line. But those little pressures are what build trust. And trust is the diamond of relationships. Without pressure, words are cheap. With pressure, character is revealed. And leadership. Leadership is one of the greatest pressure cookers in existence. The leader carries the pressure of vision, of responsibility, of decisions that affect many. Some leaders collapse, some leaders corrupt, but the great ones endure. Why? Because they understand pressure is not meant to be avoided. It's meant to be managed. A leader learns to let pressure sharpen their judgment, deepen their empathy, strengthen their resolve. And in the process, they become rare, just like the diamond. And let's not forget contribution, the pressure of giving when it would be easier to keep, the pressure of serving when it would be easier to sit. Contribution is not born in convenience. It is born in sacrifice. And those who endure the pressure of service leave a legacy. So in every part of life, pressure is present. And in every part of life, pressure can be your ally. But only if you choose to see it that way. The body pressed by exercise becomes strong. The mind pressed by study becomes sharp. The heart pressed by love and honesty becomes trustworthy. The leader pressed by responsibility becomes worthy of following. And here's the good news. Pressure is universal. Everyone faces it. You're not singled out. You're not cursed. You're simply human. The question is not whether you'll face it. The question is how you'll face it. Will you see it as weight meant to crush you, or as resistance meant to strengthen you? One last thought on this. A diamond is valuable because it's rare, but it's rare because so few endure the process. The same is true in life. Extraordinary health is rare. Extraordinary wealth is rare. Extraordinary relationships are rare. Extraordinary leadership is rare. Why? Because most people choose ease. They avoid pressure. And by avoiding pressure, they avoid greatness. But for the few who embrace it, who say, let it refine me, let it shape me, let it press me until I shine, for those, life produces a reward as rare and lasting as the diamond itself. Now let's raise the challenge. Pressure is not only something to endure, it's something to pursue. Don't just wait for life to press you. Put yourself in situations that stretch you. Step into the arena. Seek out responsibility, because if you only live where it's comfortable, you'll never know what you could have become. I learned early on that the safest place was also the most dangerous place. Safe jobs, safe routines, safe choices. They may protect you from failure, but they also protect you from success. It's the person who takes on the extra assignment, who risks starting the business, who dares to lead. That's the one who grows. That's the one who shines. Pressure is the price you pay for expansion. Want a stronger body? Pay the price in sweat. Want a stronger mind? Pay the price in study. Want a stronger character? Pay the price in discipline. There's no diamond without the pressure, and there's no greatness without the price. So here's the challenge. Don't run from it. Run toward it. Volunteer for the project. Sign up for the class. Set the goal that scares you. Put yourself in a position where you must stretch, because when you stretch, you expand. And when you expand, you discover a version of yourself you didn't know was possible. Some people want the diamond lifestyle without the diamond process. They want wealth without the work, respect without responsibility, recognition without risk. But that's not how it works. You don't get the brilliance without the pressure. You don't get the shine without the squeeze. Now, this is important. Pressure requires perspective. If you see it only as pain, you'll give up. But if you see it as preparation, you'll press on. That's why philosophy is so vital. It's not what happens. It's what you think about what happens. Change your thinking about pressure, and you change your experience of it. The weight you carry is heavy only until you grow stronger. Then the same weight feels light. Life hasn't changed, but you have. That's why I challenge people. Don't wish for things to get lighter. Wish for yourself to get stronger. Because if you get stronger, there's no telling how far you can go. And one more thing. Pressure is temporary. Diamonds are permanent. The process may feel long, but in the scope of a lifetime, it's brief. The reward lasts forever. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Which will you choose? So decide today. Decide to step into pressure, not away from it. Decide to let it shape you, not shatter you. Decide to pursue the life that demands your very best, not the one that asks nothing of you. Because the day you make the decision is the day you begin turning into something rare, something valuable, something that cannot be crushed. Diamonds form under pressure, and so will you, if you choose it. You can resent them and stay the same, or you can embrace them and become more. That's the choice. Every day, every season, every challenge, life hands you that choice. To resist and shrink, or to endure and grow. I'll tell you something I've noticed. Most people never live the life they could because they spend all their energy avoiding the very thing that could make them great. They avoid pressure. They take the easy road. But easy never made anyone valuable. Easy never made anyone shine. You want health? Feel the pressure of exercise? You want wealth? Feel the pressure of discipline. You want trust? Feel the pressure of honesty. You want leadership? Feel the pressure of responsibility. Everything valuable is on the other side of pressure. I think back to when I was struggling at 25. Pockets empty, promises broken, direction lost. The pressure of that season could have crushed me. It nearly did. But instead of running, I stayed. I listened. I learned. And slowly, the very pressure that once felt unbearable became the reason for my success. Without that season, there would have been no story to tell, no lessons to share, no diamonds. And maybe that's your story in the making. Maybe the season you're in right now, the one that feels heavy, that feels unfair, that feels like too much. Maybe that's the very furnace designed to refine you. Maybe what looks like a setback is really the setup, but it won't happen by accident. You have to decide. You have to say, I will not let this pressure break me. I will let it build me. You have to say, I will not run from the squeeze. I will let it draw out my strength. That decision is the turning point. And when you decide, here's what happens. You grow, you change. You begin to look back, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. You realize that the weight you carried was the very thing that gave you muscle. The fire you endured was the very thing that gave you brilliance. The pressure you faced was the very thing that turned you into something rare and valuable. So let me challenge you tonight. Don't wish for easier times. Don't pray for lighter loads. Don't hope for less pressure. Instead, pray for wisdom. Work for strength. Train for discipline. And welcome the pressure, because pressure is the price of becoming something extraordinary. The coal never dreamed it would be a diamond, but it endured. And one day, it shined. So can you. If you'll stay in the process, if you'll embrace the pressure, if you'll endure the heat, then one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you've become the diamond. And that, my friends, is the reward for those who choose growth over ease, endurance over escape, strength over surrender. That's the reward for those who understand that diamonds form under pressure.